All right. Hey, man, we're really excited today. We've got a really special guest. We're going to go over something that's kind of unique. Some people's heard of it, some people haven't, but it is it's a great way to get started in the real estate business because there's a low barrier to entry. Sometimes the cost of it is not a lot. You can make double digit returns depending on what state and county you're in around the country. So we're going to learn about tax lien investing today. And we have a good friend of ours on here today. His name is Travis Young. He is our resident tax lien investment specialist. So, Travis, go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, hey, how's it going? I'm just here to have some fun, educate everybody. Any questions I can ask, I'm here for it. I've been working for a few years now. I started wholesaling land probably about 6, 7 years ago, and then you run into a lot of problems with that with sellers and buyers, and so I started thinking, how can I eliminate that risk? And with the tax deed auctions, you're not dealing with the sellers; you're just buying the property. As long as you know how much you can sell it, how much you can buy it for, you see your profit. Eliminates a lot of that risk. And then, like you said, the liens you can get in for a lower cost and you can get invested and you get those guaranteed rates of return from the state. So that was nice. So I started digging into that a few years ago. And then now I've been working with a company and they're just, man, they're funneling me students. I just got off of a full morning from 9 until, right up into it. I had a little break in there, but, I've just been coaching the students and how to do that. I've got a lot of people invested all around the country in different liens and deeds. And yeah, I don't know if we want to start asking questions or I have a little slideshow to show. How do you guys normally do this?
Well, man, before we go any further, I gotta ask, being an old hillbilly,
Yeah.
we love a good nickname here, in West Virginia. So I gotta ask,
Yeah.
what's Too Tall about?
So I was surprised that Travis put up the music stuff. But before that, I'm still doing music. I did a lot more in the past. And then that's where the wholesaling started coming in because it's like, I starting to grow a family. I have 3 kids and a wife now, and being on tour on the road with music, it wasn't paying the bills. So that's when I started doing all the real estate wholesaling, land flipping and stuff. And then it got into that. But it was just funny. I was out at a gig one day, and somebody's like, "Hey, how tall are you?" And one of my friends was like, "He's too tall." And I was like, oh, "That's a good one." And then all of a sudden, everybody just started calling me too tall, and it was there. So that
Man,
was kind of the musician name from the past, but it sticks there.
man, I like that. I love a good nickname, man. We're
Yeah.
all about it here in West Virginia. So, hey, if you would just kind of start and take us from the beginning because we have a mix of veteran investors and new investors, people been in it a few years, and some people may not even know what tax lien investing and this type of thing is. So just kind of give us
Did you
a beginner's guide and go from the start. And
did you want to share your screen? Did you want to
Yeah.
do that and show your presentation as you go over it? Hold on, let me give you
Yeah.
some access here.
Cool.
All right, you should have access to let that go.
Cool. All right. Let me know if you can see it here.
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. So what we have here, starting at, just the basics of this, what's a tax lien? It's a lien imposed upon a property by law, in order to secure the payment of the property taxes. The liens create the way for investors to purchase the property owner's debt and secure an interest accruing investment. So if you think about it, we're basically like debt collectors. So, coach, if you have a piece of land, you didn't pay your taxes, the county makes a lien on that, and depending on what state you're in, you get the guaranteed rate of return. Florida's 18%, Texas is 25, Indiana's 15. They're all different rates of return there, but you didn't pay your taxes, they turn it into a lien. I go and buy it, and now whenever you go to pay it back, you have to pay me back that money plus my interest on the money there. So we're buying somebody's debt on their property taxes. When that property owner comes to pay back, we get our rate of return based on what state we're in there.
very good, man. Yeah.
And then we come to the terms. This is an important part of liens and deeds. The first one we have here is redemption period. So you think about that as like the grace period that they give the property owner to pay the lien investor back before the lien investor can foreclose on the property. So every state, again, has their own rules, regulations, but Florida, if we're talking Florida, they have a 2-year redemption period. So I buy your lien on your property. They give you 2 years to pay me back with money back plus interest, 18% a year. Or if you don't pay me back within that 2 years, now I have the right to foreclose on your property. So when I do that foreclosure, then it brings it to the tax deed auction, and it gives a chance for, you know, everybody in the country to go ahead and bid and win that property. And then that's when you would lose your property because I foreclosed on it.
Okay.
And then, believe it or not, those lien certificates, they do actually have a certificate life, which is like an expiration date. And so depending on, again, what state we're in, at a certain period of time, that lien certificate expires. So you want to know, you know, what that time frame is depending on what state you're in. We keep talking Florida, that's 7 years. So like right now, if there's a 2018 lien certificate, that's going to expire in May 1st. So that's the biggest way, you know, for somebody to lose their investment there, to where if they're just buying and holding a lien, you got to know, you know, what that expiration date is on those liens. But again, a way to protect that is like you start that foreclosure, which is called the tax deed application. That's the first step of the foreclosure process. But if you start that tax deed application, it solidifies that year, and it won't like go away. You won't lose that investment there. But, you know, you either have to do the foreclosure, you know, or just be aware of what year you're holding there for the certificate life.
Okay.
Redemptive amount versus face amount, pretty straightforward. Face amount is just your initial investment. Redemptive amount is your money back plus interest. So that's pretty straightforward there. Now we have roll-up amount versus subsequent amount. Florida and Arizona is two different examples for that roll-up amount. So here I have an example. Let me see if this screen will pull up. So this is a tax roll on a piece of property in Florida and Washington County, and you can see that this person has not paid taxes from 2018 all the way to 24. The total outstanding taxes here is the 1378, and so that would be the roll-up cost right there. This is, you know, these are all there. You can purchase them. You can start that foreclosure immediately because these years are past that 2-year redemption period. So you buy this, you start the tax deed application, and then that will, you know, initiate that foreclosure process. Another little tip here, if we're looking at this, why is my mouse doing that? These C's mean that their certificates are still available. So you can see year 18 and 19 are available. And then I means another investor owns these. And that doesn't matter that they own them. It's just, you know, you have to do that roll up and pay them out. So like, whatever investor this was, they have year 2024, they paid 142 for their face amount, and then their redemptive amount, they've made $25 on it. So, you know, nothing crazy, but that's just what they've made for that. So you buy out the investors, you buy these two certificates. Again, when you're looking at that certificate life, you know, 2018, that one's going to drop off here in May, and then 2025 would come back on top of it there. But, you know, you can come here, do the roll up, start the foreclosure. That locks in that 2018. Then there's a couple different things in the slides, but Florida is administrative. So that means the county handles everything. So the county does the whole foreclosure. You don't need an attorney. They get it all solidified for you, all good to go. There's about $1,000 extra worth of fees. So, you know, this property, to bring it to the deed auction, you're about 2,400 all invested, maybe 25, and you're getting a 5% minimum or 18% annualized, whichever one is greater. And that's on everything too, including the fees and all the roll up. So every dollar you put in, you're getting that 5% minimum or 18% annualized. And so because, you know, the 18% is annualized, you're basically getting 1.5 a month. They put that 5% minimum just because you could do this. They start sending out the notifications, and the property owner could pay you back in a month. And so, you know, that would only be 1.5, but they have the 5% minimum in Florida. So you get 5% no matter what there. And I had a student do like 8 of these separate properties, and out of 8, 2 of the property owners paid back within 45 days once they started getting some notifications there. So it does happen. If they don't pay back, then it goes all the way to the deed auction. And that's like, depending on what county you're in, it's about a 3 to 6 month timeline. So you get invested here, 2,500, you're looking at a return within like 3 to 6 months there. So it takes 6 months, you're about 9% on your money.
Okay.
We want to ask any questions, or just keep rolling through the slides?
On do you pick anything in particular? I mean, what is it that you would look at that would say, okay, this is a good tax lien for me? Is it, do you look at the property itself, where it's at, zip code?
Yeah, definitely. That's all part of the due diligence here. I'm going to go to the appraiser site so we can see what this property looks like, and that's big time thing you brought up here. But I'm going to pull up aerials. So this is just a normal like quarter-acre lot in a residential neighborhood here. Road access, is crucial. If we don't have any road access, we got to pass. All the other things we do here is wetlands too. We want to search wetlands and flood zones. And then a big thing too is we want to make sure that, that lien cost 2,500. We want to make sure like the chance of actually acquiring it is really, really, really low, because you're bringing it to the deed auction and letting someone else buy it. But, if for some reason you did end up acquiring it through that, you want to make sure that your lien cost is less than obviously what you can sell it for. So, there's a whole due diligence process. Number one, do you want me to finish the slides, or do you want me to go through the due diligence of the lien?
Well, let's go ahead and finish the slides. That way it gives everybody the background. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then we can come back through the due diligence process of all that. But road access, number one is crucial there. But yeah, there is, the certain steps of checking the title, make sure there's no other liens or encumbrances on it, checking the flood zones, making sure there's no flood zones, making sure there's no wetlands, and then make sure you can sell your property for more than what your lien cost is. That's basically the due diligence there. And then here we have the different investment types. So there's liens, deeds, and redemptive deeds. So with liens, tax liens, you're just buying a lien against the property. There's no ownership yet. You're just getting that interest accruing investment. And it does have that redemption period. With those county held liens that we saw, those are past the redemption period. So you can start that foreclosure immediately. But with the liens, like you said, there is a lower initial cost. You could just buy one of those for $150 and get your 18% year over year on it. But, the more money you have invested, the higher percent of return you're going to get, obviously. Then we have deeds here. You get immediate property ownership, no redemption period, and they're ready for immediate exit. So like I just bought one in Clay County. I got it for $9,200 and I have it up for $20,000 right now. I kind of shot a little high for it. I think it'll probably end up closing around like 16 or 17, but still just a nice little base hit off a deed auction there. And then redemptive deeds are a little bit different. So it's a deed auction. You do win the deed to the property, but that redemption period starts after you win the deed auction. So Texas is one of the most famous ones. You win the property at the auction. There's two different timelines that they give. If it's just a vacant lot and nobody lives there, they only give the property owner 6 months to pay you back. But it's 25% interest and it's day one. It's not annualized. So you could win that deed auction. Then they come to pay you back tomorrow. They have to pay you 25% on your money. If it goes 6 months and they don't pay you back, you already own the property there. So you can just turn around and sell it after that. Or if they do live there and it's a home and it's occupied, it's a 2-year window that they give that property owner if it's homestead exemption. So year one, 25%, year two, another 25%. And if they don't pay you back, that property is yours and you can, turn around and sell it there. So that redemptive deed is just a little different. And then at each auction, there's different type of bidding methods. You have bid down interest, premium bid, or round robin. Bid down interest, it starts at a certain percentage, and you bid down the interest, and the lowest bidder wins. So, right away you might think, well, why do I want the lowest interest? I want the highest amount of interest. But in certain cases, certain states, they bid down. Like if we're still talking Florida and their primary lien auctions coming up in May, people will bid all the way down to 0.25 of 1%. But that's because they know that there's the 5% minimum no matter what. So you can get, $20,000 invested on one lien and you win it at, 0.25, but really it's worth 5% the next day. And usually you can go and study this person's payment history. Like we saw that person didn't pay for 8 years on the liens there. But if it's a nice house, $500,000-$600,000 home, or a commercial unit, they're not going to lose that to a $20,000 tax bill. So you can go and see like every year this person just pays late 2 months, and the year after that it was 3 months, and the year after that maybe it's 4 months. So you can kind of see that they're just a creature of habit. You can get that 20,000 invested and get 5% on your money within 2 or 3 months there from the lien auctions. So that's bid down. Or in other cases, when we're talking different states, you have a higher chance of acquiring the property just from the liens. Like if we talk Alabama is happening right now. There's a couple on the 24th and then some in April, but they don't have a secondary deed auction. So you buy the lien year one, like say you win one now for a vacant land, $150. Comes around year two, they don't pay another $150. Year three, it's a 3-year redemption, another 150. They don't pay all 3 years. It's $450 for that lien. Little different because it's judicial, so you have to hire an attorney. Those fees are about $2,500. So let's call it $3,000 all in. Now you own that property once the foreclosure is done. It doesn't go to a secondary deed auction. You just took ownership from paying the back taxes on that property, and chances are, that property is worth $15,000 or $20,000. So, yes, it's a long play of 3 years, but still, you spend three and make 15. That's still a good deal, and especially if you have 4 or 5 of those going at the same time. Now that increases a lot more there too. So that's why people would bid down that interest. Like in Alabama, it starts at 12. People will bid all the way to 0 because they're like, hey, I know this person's not going to pay back. I just pay the taxes for 3 years. I take ownership and turn around and sell it. So 2 cases where people bid down the interest at the auctions there.
Okay.
And then premium bid, just straightforward, highest bidder wins. That's it. Most deed auctions. That's another reason why people like Texas, because their back tax bill could be 5,000. The premium bid, somebody could win it for 20, 30, 40,000, depending on the property value. They have to pay you the 25% on top of that 20,000, not their $5,000 tax bill. So you're getting a lot of money invested, and you're getting that high rate of return there out there in Texas. And then round robin is really uncommon. It's more of like an in-person. If you're in the in-person auction, they just say, hey, Travis, you want this property? Nope. Coach, you want it? Nope. Goodwin, you want it? Nope. And they just go around in a circle until somebody takes it. Really uncommon though. You'll mostly see bid down interest or premium bid.
So you're saying in Texas, if I owe $2,000 and I'm delinquent, it
Mm-hmm.
can be bid up to $25,000, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would have to pay that amount
You'd have to pay the 25 plus the 25%.
to redeem my property.
Yeah, I'm not mathing too well right now, but
Yeah, but
let's
that's,
see.
I mean, that's crazy to think that you could have a $2,000 tax bill on your property, and then all of a sudden you got a $27,000 or $30,000 tax bill, whatever it
Yeah,
is,
it's 30. Yeah, it'd be 62.50. So yeah, if it was a 5 grand tax bill, you got it for 25 at the deed auction. Then when they go to pay you back, it's 30,250 there.
Wow.
I know. Yeah, it's weird. It's pretty crazy how it works, but it's out there for the taking. That's for sure. And then I kind of touched on it a little bit, the foreclosure process. Administrative just means the county handles everything. They send out all the property, the notifications and everything, or judicial, where you need to hire an attorney, Arizona, Alabama, Indiana, states like that. And then that's really it, just comes down to what time of the year, because some states they might only have a deed auction once a year. Some states like Florida, you could participate in a deed auction every single week if you wanted to. You guys I don't know if you remember Virginia or West Virginia, but Virginia has a lot. They're kind of sporadic, but they have some good deed auctions out there. Texas is every first Tuesday of the month. So every state's just different. So you just kind of have to look at the calendar and see when things are coming up. Really great deed auction. Only happens once a year, but is Michigan. They have a lot of great properties for sale out there, lakefront properties and stuff that go for really cheap. So, each state operates differently, whether it's just liens or deeds, or like Florida where they have liens and deeds. So each state's a little bit different with all their rules and regulations.
Are you,
But
Travis? Are you done with the? Are
yeah,
you? Okay, I'm gonna stop the sharing on this. Can you send me a copy of that if you don't mind, so I can give it out to everybody? Do you mind?
Yeah. Did you want me to go through the due diligence at all?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Am I still sharing?
Oh no, yeah, you should be able to. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I got to do it again. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
I know a lot of states are a little, I mean, West Virginia has a county tax auction,
Mm-hmm.
and if nobody bids on, it falls to the state, and then it can set for 18 months with the state. And then the state finally will come to that county, usually in October, and have a state auction.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think the redemption period is probably about 6 months or something after that. But
Yeah, West Virginia was weird. That was one where I got to go in and study a little bit more because they had a certain set of laws and then they started changing and it almost looked like it was like 0% interest. It was really weird. I got to get in there and read the laws on West Virginia. That one was tricky. But yeah, so people really gravitate towards Florida. Being administrative, the county can handle it. So many deed auctions at one point in time, but basically due diligence, like I said, road access. You want to make sure you have great road access there. Some signs of development. There's some good homes being built here, nice new build homes and everything, and then kind of check out the area and see what's happening here. You have a golf course right over here. People are building all around the golf course and everything. So you just want to check out your surrounding area. But road access is good on that one. The next thing we would do is check the title. So I need to grab this person's name here. And this is the title search here, Washington County Clerk and Recorder. You can paste this. They only want one name at a time, so we'll just do Michelle Woodley, see what we see. Hit search. There we go. So they had a mortgage back on the property. And then, we got to line up the properties too and make sure we're seeing the same property. Like this is Unit 5, Block 326. This one was Unit 5, Lot 8, Block 326. Okay, so that's the one they got there. And they always have the documents over here. Sometimes most of the time they show up, sometimes they don't. But yeah, we can just see that they got a mortgage on that property back in 2005. Not concerned with it. With the title search, we're looking for like liens, judgments, court orders, anything like that that would show up, they would stick around on the property. Mortgages, they get wiped out at the deed auction in Florida. Some states like New Mexico, the mortgages will still stick around, but in Florida they get wiped out. So they had a deed and a mortgage on the property, and then SAT right here is just satisfaction for that mortgage that they had. So again, we're just looking for any different liens, encumbrances. Sometimes they can stick like back IRS taxes on there. So that would be one of those things to where, if there's a $10,000 tax bill attached to this, that's going to go to the deed auction. You're going to acquire it, and now you have a property. You have to pay that tax bill. So the title search is really crucial when you're doing the liens and everything there. And then when you go to deeds, there's a whole separate thing. They have deed documents in the county. I don't know how far we want to go into all this, but basically title search is really important. And then, like I said, flood zones. We have the flood zone. So this is that area. I believe it was right down here somewhere. Yeah, it was right here in this area. So green is all wetlands over here, and ours was right around here that we were looking at. So you can see anything in this neighborhood is good. There's no wetlands there. And then flood zone, same thing. We're in the same area. We're right over here. And you can see, yeah, so in this area, the flood zones and the wetlands kind of line up the same with each other over there. So no flood zones, no wetlands, no tidal issues. And then, last thing is you'd want to just go check Zillow and see how much that property is worth. Just do some comparisons there. That's kind of it. I don't know how fast or in how depth we want to go. If we want to answer any questions, what are we doing, Coach?
hey, man, yeah, that's good stuff. I mean, I've been around the business a while, but I've never done a lot of tax lien. I've bought a couple properties at tax auctions
Mm-hmm.
uh, and had to wait for the redemption period and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's good information, and it's different how each state, is different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's almost like 50 states, and there's kind of 50 different, unique things about it. each state does things just a little bit different. Like that thing in Texas, man, that's incredible.
Crazy. I know.
Somebody could bid like 100 grand on your taxes, man. You can't pay it back. You can't even
Yeah.
redeem your own property. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. There
Wow.
though, it's a proxy bid though. So like, say that property, say you bid 100 on it, maybe I bid 50 on it. It's not going to max you out at 100. It's just going to go $100 over the 50. So if we were the only two bidders in that case, it'd only be 50,100. But still there could be people bidding it all the way up to there, and yeah, they can drive those prices up really high. Indiana's another one too. It's 15%, and you'll see $10,000 liens go for $80,000, $90,000. Somebody wins it at the deed auction. It's insane.
Okay, but they've done their research and they know there's no mortgage or
Yep,
anything like that on the back end, right?
yep, exactly. And then some get really crazy, like New Jersey and Maryland. It's like, just go ahead and stay away from those. The way
Wow.
they operate on the liens are just it's just crazy. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, they'll do bid down interest and premium bid. So somebody can bid it all the way down to zero. And then if you're tied with somebody bid at zero, now it goes to the highest bidder wins. But
Mhm.
then each county has their own different ways they operate. If it's a standard or accelerated sale, there's like, there's a lot of nuances inside New Jersey. It's pretty crazy.
So, yeah, yeah. I mean, if, we have a lot of people on here that talk to us about maybe getting into rental properties and doing stuff like that, particularly earlier in their investing career. And, something like this tax lien, tax deeds, to me is a good alternative to that. Maybe from trying to get into rental properties and having to manage tenants and all the different things that we all know comes with rental properties. I
Mhm.
mean, you get into something like this, it tends to be a bit more passive.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's something I like to bring up to my students a lot too, is because like you said, everybody's like, all right, real estate, how can I buy a house? How can I do the flips? How can I do that? They go right to housing, but everybody overlooks land, and I love land, especially with a seller finance note. So if I get a property for 10 grand, it's worth 20. I take like $8,000 down payment from somebody, slap my own interest rate, my own terms on there, and now say they're paying me for the next 2 years $500 a month until they pay me off
Mm,
the 20 grand. So now you have that cash flow coming in with the interest rate, so that the $20,000 sale price is going to turn into 22 or 23 over time,
mm,
and you don't have to worry about the toilets or the tenants or anything like that. And
mm.
if they stop paying, it's in the contract. It's a contract for deed. So if they stop paying you, property is yours. You keep the down payment, all the monthly payments, and turn around and sell it again.
Yeah. Yeah, taking on this type of investing, I mean, there's a learning curve, but I think
Yeah.
once you picked out a state and maybe some counties that you want to operate in, you could become pretty proficient pretty quick.
Yeah, it definitely takes the practice. That's the biggest thing, is just getting in there and kind of just picking one state, at a time, and not trying, because if you try to take on all of them, it gets really overwhelming. It's like, okay, what type of investment do I want to go after? Is it liens? I just want the money back plus interest, or do I
Mhm.
want to tackle something to sell at the deed auction? You determine that, and then okay, what state does what? Take that and just get one done. Get one under your belt, feel confident about it, and then kind of build from
Mhm.
there.
So if you were out here, if our listeners are watching and stuff and they watch the replay or whatever, would you recommend that they start in their own state and try
Yeah,
to
maybe it
figure it
depends
out?
on where they're at. Yeah, that's a hard one, because again, it's like what's their goal and what's their budget? Because if their goal is to buy something and sell something right away, they might not be in a deed state. They might be in a lien state to where they have to wait that redemption period. If they're just getting started and it's a lower budget, and they're in a deed state, then like Washington State, if you're there and you're like, oh, that's my state, you got to have 20, 30, $40,000 to win those deed auctions, because that's how high those winning bids go out there. So it really comes down to their goals of what they want to accomplish, whether it's money back plus interest, or it's buy and sell properties, and then depending on what state you're in, how that works.
Okay.
Honestly, I would say Florida is still the easiest for anybody getting started, because the lien auctions are pretty easy. The over the counters, they're there in certain counties. Washington County in Florida is a great one for those county held liens. Like I just showed you, there's probably 3 or 4 thousand of those liens out there that you could go and start the foreclosure immediately and get the return on. And then the deed auctions, like I said, I could show, Charlotte County, Lee County, they'll have 200-300 properties a month going for sale at the deed auction.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We're about halfway through. Let's open it up to questions. If anybody has anything, Travis, I know I've kind of bogarted a little bit, but if you,
No,
Travis
this is,
G.
I've just been learning, man. This is out of my, I don't know nothing about this stuff, you know what I mean? So I'm just learning and listening to Travis. My only experience with tax, anything tax is, as a wholesaler, as a deal finder, I'm always getting leads from people who owe money and they're in the redemption period. And I love those deals. I love being able to be on the opposite side of Travis TwoTall here, and I kind of help these people out before they get to that point where Travis can buy the auction. So I like hearing this perspective too and learning. And I think it's a great opportunity. That's why I wanted to have Travis on here because we haven't had anybody like this. Nobody's came on here and done that. I think it's definitely a niche, however you want to say it. And Travis is crushing it. What are your goals with this for the next 12 months, man?
Me? I'm buying and selling as much as I can at the deed auctions. That's my goals. I guess I should have a number in mind, but I'm really just, whatever budget I have, I'm just buying and selling. Like I said, I got sold one in Citrus, got two in Clay County, and then I was working in Orange County in Orlando, but then that's the thing too, is that like, even though there's the deed auctions, there's 50 properties, those people still have the chance to redeem before that. So it might be 50 and then 2 days before the auction, there's only 10 properties to bid on. So, sometimes it can get a lot. Some counties, you can bid 4 or 5 auctions and not win anything. So that's really my goal, to buy as many as I can. I love those seller financing notes. So as many of those I can stack up, that's just, reliable income every single month.
Cool. So I know you're really busy with, you teach this stuff, but how much time would you say this takes just to run the actual business of buying and doing this? Like how much time a week do you spend on just tax liens and deeds, not teaching it?
Oh, not teaching it. Probably. Yeah. I mean, it's that's also a hard one because the more you practice it, the faster you get through all the
Yeah.
sites. So, I've had people that can just boom, 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 zip through it and get through it, or I've had some clients where it's like they barely know how to open their email. So
What
it's
about
gonna
you
take
personally? Like
me
personally, how
personally. I'm
much?
pretty fast. I'm spending like max like 10 hours a week on it, probably more like
Nice.
5 to 8. Yeah. But also, again, it can be a little bit more at times because I like listing my own properties, like flat listing it. So I'm not an agent, but I can flat list it. And so, I do deal with a little bit more back and forth with buyers and signing the contracts and stuff. So you could spend less time if you pass it off to an agent as well.
Are you just dealing with land at all right now, or do you do any houses? Or you kind of have it focused in?
Yeah, just focusing on the land because I unfortunately, I'm working towards that higher budget. A good house at the deed auction, you got to have 120, 150 liquid kind of sitting around there. So that's just out of my budget right there.
No, I feel you. So, for somebody, just with a little bit to spend, this really is a great way to get started, like Coach was saying. I mean,
Yeah, the liens for sure. Because on the deed side, you want to be like around like eight to maybe $15,000 for a winning bid. So then those properties are in that 20-25 range for retail because there's counties where you can go and buy deeds for 25, 3,000, 5,000, stuff like that. But then when you have that little of a winning price, your market value is just right over top of that. So your margin is only like $1,000 maybe, and then you don't really have much room to negotiate or anything. So if it's a lower budget, yeah, definitely the liens are the way to go because you could buy $150 lien here in Alabama and pay it for the next 3 years, 450, like I said, and then sell it. And now you just made 15 grand on 3,000. So, and again, it's a little bit longer, but liens are definitely the way to get invested and get started and at a lower cost.
So when you're in this too, another thing, we have some people that we talk to, and they don't like making phone calls and interacting a whole lot. So, I'm like, this is perfect because it's basically data analytics
Yep.
research, you know, so,
Yeah,
it doesn't
especially if you have
require,
an administrative county like Florida, you don't have to talk to anybody. You just click a couple buttons, start the foreclosures, send the money, and then you get a wire back or a check back. You don't have to deal with anything like that.
yeah, there's no cold calling, there's no,
Oh, no,
So
no dealing with the buyers and the sellers and all that fun stuff. Yeah.
so when are you getting on a call? Like when do you actually have to like talk to somebody?
When I'm flat listing them, so there's people, hey, I'm interested, give me a call. Okay, yeah, oh, they want way too little, or they want to know about road access or other things like that. Sometimes I'm calling the title company. Sometimes I'm calling the county if it looks a little confusing. I'll call them and just say, hey, this parcel looks weird. Is there any endangered animals or any restrictions on building? I want to make sure all that's clear before. So there's a little bit of phone calls, but that's on the deed side. On the lien side, you could make a whole investment and get a return without talking to a single person.
Do you go to these properties? Like are you physically going to them and checking for turtles?
Nope, haven't been to a single one that I've sold. That's why I love it, the remote aspect of it too.
Man,
yeah,
that's amazing. So
Yeah.
like, because like, we have a lot of people from overseas too, and I feel like for people overseas, one of the biggest things is they're not here, and the communication is a little tougher. So
Mhm.
I feel like this is gold, man. This is cool
Yeah.
stuff. So where do I sign up again? Like how do I learn more? Like no, really, like where can people reach you and ask you questions? How are you accessible?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the best way is, honestly. I guess maybe I didn't even think about that, honestly, to tell you the truth. Probably, I guess email would probably be the best. Travis Landshark at gmail.com. Travis Landshark at gmail.com.
we'll
I
put that
just
in the
put it
show
in the
notes.
chat. Yeah.
Cool.
And we appreciate you, man. I know you have an appointment coming up here, so I'm trying
Yeah,
not
I
to.
got some minutes. No, you're good.
Okay,
I can push till about 250, two fifty
okay,
five.
cool, cool.
I'm used to just back to back in it, so.
Yeah, Land, how me and you met each other through the Land Sharks, with
Yep.
Brent Bowers, and I think it's really cool, man. Just watching you do everything that you're doing, and I know you've been trying to put out some content and stuff. Like, are you still doing a group? Like, what's the update with that? Like, a group about this stuff?
Yeah, I did the school group. I had it going. Maybe I just didn't keep it going as long as I should have. It didn't feel like it was weird. I put out the Facebook group and more people joined that than the school, and I was having a little more interaction inside the Facebook group. And I had a couple meetings. I had some friends show up, but I guess it's just that traction of getting it off the ground. And first thing I've started like that got a little discouraging. But I think the Facebook group is let me see. I think it's Deed Dynasty. That one's still going.
Okay. And are you going to do more of that, and are you planning on putting out some more content on just on all this? I feel like it's needed, man, because
Yeah,
there's a lot of wholesaling, there's a lot of like all this other stuff being taught, novations, but there's not a lot of this.
yeah, yeah. I want to. Yeah, I guess again, it's just I'm new to the content stuff, and so I'm just getting familiar with it. And like I said, I guess it's maybe it's just not having as much confidence. I'm like, oh, I put it out. No, nobody really cared. Okay, do I put it out again? I don't know. I'm in my own head, I guess, on that one with the content.
Oh man, coach, you have to talk about that. Like I feel like you're speaking coach's language right now. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Everybody talks about, doing what makes you uncomfortable. So, uh, I want everybody out here to hear when I go live in the group or I'm doing a video, you just wouldn't believe how uncomfortable that I am, man. I'm just like, and Travis is like, you got to do it, man. You got to do it. You got to do, and that's my way of being uncomfortable on a daily basis or whatever is I try to do videos and content. But, I'm sort of like, I'm sort of like a duck, I'm all calm and stuff on the surface, but underneath, man, I'm paddling like hell, just trying to hold it together.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, there's definitely that aspect. I understand that too, of like,
yeah,
to grow, yeah, you got to push out of that comfort zone and do some uncomfortable things there.
yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely need to make some more content.
Travis, do you want to open up for a question or two, or do we have
Yeah.
time?
I just put the Facebook group in the comments too for
Thanks,
anybody
Travis.
that
Yeah,
wants to
I
join
totally
it.
wasn't prepared for you.
Yeah,
I
you're
should have
good. You're good.
been.
I'm quick with it, man. I'm an internet baby.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, does anybody have any questions? Anybody want to talk to Travis at all? You know, it's okay if anybody wants to talk.
Yes.
Go ahead,
Hi,
Saeed.
hi, coach.
Hey, bud.
Hi, total. Can I pronounce it properly?
What's up, Seed?
Yes. How are you?
I'm
Are
doing
you
great. How
fine?
about yourself?
You right now you told much about uh, tax rule and regulations, tax liens. For a newcomer, uh, I think there is a large deal capacity in this field also, tax liens field.
Mm-hmm.
For a newcomer, which you uh, define different types of tax liens, which is the most uh, better, easy to avail for the newcomers, because there are different type of deals about tax liens. For a newcomer, if he also interested in the tax lien leads, then which lead he should select for his experience in the start. Then make an experienced person can try everything in this field. But for the newcomers, if he touches the leads related to tax delinquents or auctions or pre-foreclosures, etc., all these things, which type of tax related property he should choose for as a beginner?
Yeah, I would say the liens are definitely the easiest. I'm working on putting this chat in here. So this is one of the big sites for liens. It's called realauction.com. They'll have deed sites, but they'll also have lien sites. I put it in the chat there too. But I think the county held tax liens in Florida is going to be the easiest one because it gives you a lot of time to like evaluate those properties. It's not a fast like the deed or the lien auction is coming. I have to know the all these sites in and out to be able to bid and do all these things. The over the counter, those county held liens, they can just be purchased at any point in time, and so you have it's a slow process to where you don't have to rush to buy one of those. And if you go real auction, I put clients in there. It'll show you, it has different states like Texas will be on there for their deed auctions. Florida, it's called the over the counter tax liens. And so those are definitely the easiest because everything else has a lot of other nuances, especially those pre foreclosures and foreclosures. There's a lot of stuff in there that personally I don't even understand about the foreclosure stuff, like the on the foreclosure auctions, because there's a lot of other things that stick around. There's so much more due diligence because there is a difference between like a foreclosure auction and a tax deed auction. The tax deed is going to wipe out a lot more stuff. It's a lot less risk, things to worry about. The foreclosure auctions, you have mortgages and mechanics liens and all these other things you have to really go in there and search for. So I'd say those over the counter liens in Florida.
And one more question: if I choose the type of lane you allow me to work along with, then which lead through a number of leads, which lead I should select? Suppose different persons have the same type of problem in tax paying. Suppose a person can't pay, could not pay from 6 months, one person from 7 months, one person from 1 year. Then which person is the best to choose? He may be more motivated as compared to other person. What is the criteria to select if I open a county record, which criteria is the best to choose a specific lead?
Oh, which county? Well, one, I can send it to Travis. I'll send the stuff over if he wants to send it to the community. But so when you get online, like in real auction, and you can go on there and purchase them and buy them right away, a lot of people are already kind of doing that. So you'll see properties that don't have road access or they'll have wetlands. It's not something that you want to buy the liens and do the foreclosure, because you're going to end up acquiring that and have a real hard time selling it. So one county that I like specifically is Washington County, Florida.
Okay.
And then there's another handful of counties. I'll put this other site in there too, FLAtaxsales.com. So all these counties are going to be other ones to where it's a really easy thing, but you just have to go in and download their bidder form and then email it back to them. And that's how you get what's called like a bidder number. And so when it does that, it's like I said, real easy step, but it deters people because a lot of people want to just get registered online, click, click, click. All right, cool, I'm good, I can buy. And so that's where everybody goes first and buys up all the, good liens that are worth it. But that other one that I just sent, FLA tax sales, those are all the counties that are off the online sites. And so you have to go in and download their bidder form, fill out the PDF, send it back to the county. Then they give you a bidder number. Then you can go look at the inventory they have, and then you can go back and purchase those. So that those little tiny steps leave a lot more inventory still on the table for investors. But Washington County is a great one for that. Florida.
Thank you very much. And
Anybody else?
last question. Sorry, coach. I intercept you. Last question. My question was that if I select a specific county, I check a number of person or number of properties related to tax liens. Then which type of property I should select first of all? That was my question.
What type of property? I mean, really, it's going to be vacant land for those county helds.
Yeah.
And then you just want to make, again, like everything I went through, you want to make sure just road access is the biggest one. That's where a lot of lien investors are like, oh, it looks like a great piece of land. Well, you can't get to it, and now you're going to acquire that and have a real hard time selling it there. So yeah, vacant land, and just look around, make sure you have road access, no wetland, everything like that. And you'll see a lot of it in there when you start looking.
Thank you,
Thank
Saeed.
you.
We appreciate your questions, man. And Travis, we appreciate you. I know we only got like 3 more minutes before you got to go. So, if anybody does have any other questions for him before he goes, this is your time. This is the best time to do it because
reach out to me though. I'm happy to, and I love, educating people. It's fun. It's a lot more fun than offering people lowball on wholesale calls. So.
Oh, what do you mean? That's so much fun, man.
No.
That's my favorite thing to do. You're hating on me, man. What I do on my free time. But yeah, man, we appreciate you a lot, man. Hopefully we can bring you back on here and stay in touch with you and
Yeah, we could
I
always
love to
go
watch
over
it.
if there's a certain state somebody wants to look at or a certain type of investment. We can just dive into that. I tried to cram as much information at general as I could.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Just send me over that PDF and everything. We'll put all this together and we'll create like a nice little tax information package. We'll put your information on it, your group and stuff, so we can just send this out to everybody, man. I think I'm gonna rewatch this myself. This is in my replay.
Perfect. Thanks, man. Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Coach, you want to lead us off today?
Yeah, we're going to stick around or?
You want to? I mean, it's up
Yeah,
to you.
let's stick
Okay.
around for a minute.
All right. All right, Travis, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
All right,
thank you,
thanks.
man.
Yeah,
All right,
thank
man.
you guys very much. Talk to you soon.
All right,
Okay,
man. Have a
man.
good one.
See you.
All right, Coach. You wanted to stay, man. You take the time, man. What do you want to talk about?
No, man, I just thought, if anybody on here wanted to ask any more questions or anybody had anything, we had a few minutes here left and we would, chit chat with you about anything, what's going on, what we're doing, you know.
We made it to a
We,
closing today, didn't we?
yeah, we bought a house today, so today's a good day,
Yeah, man. Nice.
Congrats, guys. What's up, Coach? What's up, Travis?
Hey, Malachi.
How you doing today?
Good, bud.
What you got going on?
I did have nothing much, man. Same old lead generation. I did have a question today, though. It's totally unrelated to what the meeting was about today. But I wanted to ask you guys if you had any familiarity with running Facebook ads for motivated sellers. I'm trying to get into that space and trying to see where I should start at.
Yeah, I do. I got my first Facebook deal, my first virtual deal running Facebook ads. Um,
Mhm.
I'll give you my experience, okay? Now I know people will go out here and they crush
Okay.
it. I'll give you my experience. So I think with Facebook ads, you pretty much have to run it nationally. Like that, get your cost per lead
Okay.
down. It really helps
Yeah.
when you're touching multiple places, okay?
Right.
So what I found from my experience is I started getting leads from all these different places. I spent maybe $800. I had like over 80 leads, and a
Mm.
lot of these were in places where I had no
Yeah.
connections. I didn't know what I was doing, and I kind of felt like I wasted my money.
Yeah.
Luckily, this lady kept calling me and texting me, asking me, "Hey, do you still want to buy my house?" And I was like, you know what? This lady must be motivated. Let's see what I can do. And I
Yeah.
luckily made $10,000 off of that deal
Okay.
in the middle of nowhere. There was only 1,000 people in the whole town of
Wow.
Williamsburg, Ohio.
Wow.
But I will tell you right now, man, it's difficult. Like I think
Yeah.
Facebook ads, in my opinion, is distraction marketing, meaning that you're doing other things and then you just happen to see my ad. Versus
Right.
Google PPC, on the other hand, they're searching for you. They have a problem that day and they need a solution for it, so they're finding you most of the
Right.
time. So I prefer Google like over Facebook, and like I think it's night and day. What do you think,
Okay.
Coach?
PPCs, I mean, I've done both, and I was doing them back when you could target people on Facebook.
Right.
Now you can't target,
Like zip
anybody. They've
codes
changed
and
all
things
the,
like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
they've changed all the laws, but the PPC is the best, and people kind of get blown away by PPC and all the different analytics in PPC and how to set it up. And I don't know how to set it up. Well, let me give you a hack to that.
Hmm.
I've learned after spending a lot of money is uh, called get online with a Google Ads expert. Let them set it up for you.
Yeah.
Let them tell you what to do. And then set your call up every 30 to 60 days with them
Okay.
and talk to them, and they'll help, and they'll, well, this is working, that's not working. We done campaign A, campaign B, campaign C, boom, boom, boom. Which one's working, and they pretty much helped us kind of dial it in. I used to do all this other stuff, hire companies to do all this other stuff.
Hmm.
And when I just use Google and Google's people, man, I mean, Travis can attest to some of the leads that we get,
Okay.
and they're
The
just
one
like
we closed
smoking hot.
today. That deal we
Yeah.
closed today. Malachi, listen to this. The lead came in last month, and I called her. The next day, I was at the house,
Wow.
had the contract that day, and we closed on it today.
Wow.
Like that's how hot it was. So
Okay.
if you do Facebook, this is who I recommend. I just put it in the chat. His
Oh,
name's Chris Chico. He's the godfather of wholesaling. I'm telling you, like this guy's been teaching this stuff before people were on the internet talking about it, okay? And that's who I
all
paid.
right.
I paid for his course and he taught me all of the Facebook ads, and that's who I would recommend if you were to do it.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, I wanted to ask because I'm trying to get into generating some inbound leads, but I'm kind of like in the same situation as you guys. I'm in a pretty small market, and what you said was exactly what I didn't want to have happen. I didn't want to have to turn on nationwide, and have to be marketing to places where I'm not in or I don't have any connections in.
Yeah,
I do have a mentor, so that could kind of help with that, but I kind of just wanted to keep the marketing in my own market. And I was hearing some things that said the cost per lead was pretty high when you do that. So I wanted to ask you guys
it
about
is. Yeah.
that.
I since you're in a small market, I would look into mail for inbound to get your
Okay.
phone ringing, mailing the probates, mailing the tax
Okay.
liens. The people that you're cold calling, the people that
Uh-huh.
don't answer, I would mail those people. That's
Okay. All
what I
right. That
would
makes
do.
sense. That's a great strategy. That makes sense. Thanks
Good
a
Yeah,
deal.
lot, man. I
it,
appreciate you guys.
if you do the PPC, man, you can spend $15 a day and get 3 or 4 leads a day.
Really, I
Lots of
was under the
times, lots
impression
of
that
times.
PPC was very expensive. Wow.
Well, David, you got to think too, Coach. He's in Baltimore, right? Baltimore.
Yeah, yep,
Okay,
So,
yep.
so the costs are probably going to be a little bit higher in Baltimore.
maybe $50 or something. I mean,
Okay.
but you just depends on how many people's out there after those leads. But you can get some inbound leads. And the biggest thing is following up with Google and the Google Ads person and
Hmm.
making sure that you stay on top of everything and making changes and dialing it in, and you'll really get
Right.
it to where you can start to feel a nice return, and it doesn't cost you anything for them to do
Well,
Okay.
that service. It's free.
Okay.
Coach,
Understood. Thanks,
you think
Coach.
maybe we could, maybe, I don't know if you want to do this public, but maybe if Malachi reaches out to you, you think one day you could share your screen with him, like on a call and show him like what our campaigns look like?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. No
Thank you.
problem.
Thanks a lot. I definitely appreciate that.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
Anybody
man.
else have anything to say before we bounce? I'm about to get ready to go look at a house in a few. I just sent over that house that we bought today to a buyer, and he wants to look at it, so I'll probably show him that one. It's gonna be. Hopefully, I can make some money today, guys. That's what I want to do.
That sounds good. Well, hey guys, if there's nothing else, we love the fact you guys tune in with us every day or every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and we love bringing this information to you. And this tax lien information, man, I know it's a whole different kind of animal out there, and hopefully we kind of expand your mind and say, hey man, there's all kinds of different things out here. There's an avenue for investment in real estate for every personality and every type of person. So tax lien investing may be for that analytical, data centered, doesn't want to communicate with anybody type person. So hope you enjoyed it. As always, learn it, execute it, repeat it. Thank you for watching.